Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. We do this thing 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am one of your hosts. I am Javon Adams, and with me, as always, is Ed Smith, a man who not only played professional baseball, but he also played in the National Football League for that first Super Bowl-bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. It's finally good when it starts to roll off the tongue just so smooth. How you living, my brother?
Friday fun day, bro, and it's conference championship weekend. Yes, sir.
I can't wait until. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to be the guy that's. I can't wait until, because you never enjoy the process in the moment. But next week we get to hear that off week, the story off week, and I ain't trying to get you emotional on again, man. But
that was more fun. You ain't gonna get me to cry next week.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So let's get into it, because you mentioned conference. It's conference championship week, and so there's a lot at stake here for these teams, for these squads. So let's break down a couple of these, and also I wanted to get into your thoughts about the Bill Belichick thing at the very end. But let's get to the more important stuff that's right here in front of us. So let's start with the Detroit Lions are traveling to San Francisco to take on the San Francisco 49ers. This is going to be an interesting game, just because we know that, again, the team, I did say, I think earlier in the season, I said that the team that's closest to being that monster is San Francisco, but I neglected to mention the Ravens, right? So the Ravens can be a beast as well. So San Francisco and the Ravens, they're not great teams, but they're close to it. They're right underneath it. But we know that Detroit, their defense, you never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates with Detroit's defense sometimes. But this is where we are. We have Dan Campbell, who is super aggressive. You never know what he's going to end up doing, right? You have San Francisco, Deebo Samuels. Do you know the latest? Is he's out, right?
I did not.
Questionable?
He was questionable. So
if he's not at, let's say, 75%, then that's going to, we saw what happened, how they almost, how it got really tight against the Green Bay Packers. But how do you see this one breaking down? Because I think this is the game last year, this time, where Brock Purdy, where he got injured when they played Philadelphia. So I think Brock Purdy's he's one of those dudes where I got something to prove, right? But how do you see this game going?
Well, like you just said, it all starts for me with the news, whether Deebo is available or not. And then if he's available, what percentage is he at? Is he going to be more of a decoy out there?
Yeah.
I do think the advantage for this week, if he doesn't play or if he's limited, is that the Niners know it already. Yeah. So they're preparing for it. Last week, when he went out, it was one of those situations where all the plays that they were running specifically for Deebo, somebody else had to step in, and they can't run the plays like Deebo. So all of a sudden there's probably about a handful of plays, 5 to 7 plays that were like specifically for Deebo. Some of those plays where he lines up in the backfield or jet sweep, you get it to him, stuff like that. Now all of a sudden, number 2 guy is running them, but number 2 guy can't run those. There's only so many people that can do what Deebo does. Yeah. And it took the Niners by surprise, so they had to adjust on the fly. So I think now they can either get those plays out of the rotation, or if there is somebody who they feel confident they can run them, they now get all the reps for them and they're prepared. So I do think that's an advantage. This game is going to come down to me. There's so many different aspects. It's the coaching aspect. It's Mr. Cool and he's prepared on that side. He can scheme against one of the best schemers out there. And Shanahan, then you got the dude over there just licking his chops, wanting to bite your kneecaps, bro. He's ready. He's salivating. He wants to get over there, and he's emotional. And is he going to, we all know Detroit, they're going to have a wrinkle or two up their sleeves. Is Campbell going to be impulsive, and use those, and is he going to use them correctly, and is he,
because that emotion can come back and bite you, right? If you're too emotional and you don't realize that you can be emotional and are able to breathe for a half a second, because we know that it's a game that's going by quickly, but you can't make rash decisions, right?
No, exactly. It came back to bite him, but they got lucky because Dallas lost. They should have had the number 2 seed out the box, and then that would have. Think about we talked about the other day with that sliding glasses or sliding doors, that movie. If Detroit had been in the 2 spot, the whole playoffs would have been configured a whole different way. Right. Dallas would have been here. Dallas would have probably, whoever they played in the first round, either they beat them, have to go to San Francisco. So everything happened differently because of Dan Campbell. And they lucked out this time around.
Right.
So we'll see if, he's crazy enough and what happens moving forward. But this is a game about who's going to get after it, bro. The San Francisco 49ers front. They got to stop Detroit's run, get after Goff. If they don't, and they allow Detroit to pound that rock, and then you let Goff get comfortable back there, they could be in for a long day. And on the other end, they're going to try to get after Purdy. And this is Purdy. I've been defending you forever for, you're my dude. You're my ride or die. And now it's time for you to step up or step down, one or the other, because they're going to come after Purdy. He's going to probably have some decent weather, so we can't blame it on the rain. He's going to have to throw that rock, and it's going to have to be on timing, and can't be thrown. I mean, he threw a couple last week. It was like, and I'm like, there's a reason why DBs are DBs, because they got skillets for hands, because you can't hit somebody in the hands and the chest too many times, bro, because eventually somebody's going to catch one of those. Yeah, so this is all about Purdy protecting the rock, throwing it on timing, doing what they do. The other dudes, everybody's got to step up, meaning I talk about the defensive side, they got to step up. But, I mean, offensively, Kittle, Ayuk.
Kittle, they used Kittle pretty well against the Packers.
Yeah.
They did a great job. I mean, he got some big chunk plays, as they say.
And that's what we need. When Debo's not in there for the big chunks, somebody else has got to, take those up. So we got to get, and the middle of the field, Detroit's secondary, real suspect. So this is a game where Kittle, if Debo's in there, they're going to get, they should get off. But Kittle, I mean, getting off in the middle of the field as a tight end, McCaffrey doing his thing. This should be a game where, I'm telling you, man, I call this a rock'em sock'em robots game right here, where you're going to put them in there and just start pounding that thing, and we're going to see how it comes out. But I'm expecting a really, really physical and good game, and I'm thinking it's going to come down to the fourth quarter.
Okay.
And I'll hold off on my predictions because you probably have a lot to say about this game as well. So you go ahead and then we'll give our predictions.
All right. Yeah. Because of if San Francisco is near full strength, because of Shanahan, he is a mad scientist. I hate to use the word genius, but I mean, what you're going to get when you play San Francisco. You've said it many times, is that, and you mentioned the statistic during the course of the year, but it doesn't matter what the next game is, so to speak. If they lose and the team and Detroit goes on to the Super Bowl, because that'll be 2 weeks of rest. That'll be 2 weeks later. But because I think that he's going to have a great game plan that's put together, I think that San Francisco will come up victorious. I think what he's going to do, I think he probably has a couple different game plans in mind. And this is what I mean when I say it, is that if Purdy seems to be pushing it a little bit too much, if he seems to be forcing it, if he seems to not be in that zone, then I think he'll tweak it to be able to get what he needs out of Purdy with some different play calls, maybe some shorter stuff, maybe to scheme guys open, so to speak, to give him those opportunities. But I think that San Francisco is going to come out victorious in this game. I think it will be a close game because, as you mentioned, the culture, we talk about culture all the time, but I do think the culture that Dan Campbell has created in Detroit is a never quit, no matter what. No matter what, we are going to go tooth and nail, and we're okay with getting physical and making it ugly. So I think it's going to come down to it, and it may come down to the kicker, man. I think it may come down to the kicker, and I think that I would say. Yeah, I say San Francisco by 3. I don't know what the line is, but I would say San Francisco by 3.
Right now, they got it at, and this is at the beginning of the week on my sheet. I got it at, it was at opened up at -7, which is crazy. I don't think it's going anything like that. This one, right, for me, coming down to the wire, I got this one 27-23. San Francisco 49ers pull it out, so they don't cover, but they get that dub and go on to the Super Bowl.
Okay. And then comes the real pressure for Shanahan, because he's been there before. he was in as an OC, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's gonna. If you get a lead, what you gonna do? What if you get up 28-3? What are you gonna do? And all those stupid questions that he's probably gonna just want to bite somebody's head off. But okay, so Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. Let's get into the next game. This one's gonna be interesting. We got the Kansas City Chiefs going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Lamar Jackson exercise one of the demons that he has by not only playing well, but really being the star of the show in that victory over Houston. I heard somebody saying just earlier this morning when I was listening to something that, we don't know if we really give him credit because it was Houston. And I think everybody try to come up with these asterisks, right? Mm-hmm. But how do you see this one playing out? Because the Chiefs, it's almost as if they're playing with house money, even though they're the defending champs. But it's almost as if they're playing with house money because on the offensive side, there's still some things that aren't quite right. But that defense is still something that you have to account for.
Well, until you get there, you don't realize the pressure of this particular game because as you get down to the Final Four and, it's conference championship weekend, you start to hear it in your ear a little bit. It'd be the importance of it and the magnitude. And then you get there, as the weeks, progresses and the game day gets there, it's a lot of pressure, bro. It is. I've been there. I can tell you.
Okay.
The Chiefs, unbelievably, this is their sixth.
Yeah.
Conference championship game.
And it has to start wearing on you eventually because it's so, when you think about it, it's consecutive, right? So
But it's been there, done that too, though.
True.
Saying this is like, we've been there. This is Lamar's first one. So that's advantage one right out the box. They were just in the Super Bowl last year, the biggest dance of all. They know the pressure. Now, I don't speak on this too, especially when you get to the final game. Mm-hmm. I was in the one and, Denver, it was their second one. They had dudes that were like, where we were all freaking out like, oh my God, look at the grass. Look at and you had John Elway and Shannon Sharp and all them over there. And they were just like, smoking, a cigar, like it ain't no big deal, So for Mahomes and them, like I said, been there, done that. Advantage one. Lamar, maybe a little more pressure on him because, MVP, second one, you were 1-3 coming into these playoffs. You now got number 2, but that was against Houston. What you going to do now? That type of thing.
Yeah.
And, now you're coming in, and you're kind of expected. This is your window. It's opened up, and Lamar's window's not closing anytime soon, bro.
Right.
It's not closing anytime soon, but it'd be nice to get this one and get in there and get the monkey off the back early, so you're not doing this again next year or whenever. So, this is. Lamar is tough to do to scheme, to prepare for because he's so unique. The good thing about the Chiefs is they've seen him a little bit over the last few years. Yeah. So, you have an opportunity. You got some old film, but you can attack them accordingly. Like you said,
contain is important. It goes without saying. Contain,
unbelievably,
having that integrity there when it comes, not just gap integrity, but just look, if I tell you to go, if it calls for you to go up and in, just go up and in and stick right there. Just don't try to be a hero. Just do your job.
Couldn't say it any better, Jay. Do not improvise. And the problem is you get out there and everybody wants to make a play. And then all of a sudden that dude's like a greased hog, dog. He's gone. It's like trying to catch a fart in the air. You just can't do it, bruh. And his wiggle and his, when he decides to get out, and then he can throw the ball as well. He just makes it so tough. If you try to attack him to contain him and you don't get pressure on him, he can throw it. He can sling it. He's got that reputation now. Then you decide to get after him, and one guy doesn't maintain gap responsibility. Next, he's running up the field for 20, 40, or whatever it might be. And, and he's gotten smarter with his runs. He's sliding better. So he's the total package. I think they get Mark Andrews back in this game, so he's got an additional weapon,
right.
Along with, the other likely, I think his other tight end was, he's got the guys on the outside. They've got the total package this year. With especially the offensive coordinator Monken, I think his name is. They've tinkered with things, and Lamar is not just a runner, and they're not trying to turn him into just a passer. So on the other side, man, you got the mad scientist, the 2.0, and Andy Reid. This might not be a time where they come out and get too cute because they got to worry about.
They can't.
They got to just worry about catching the damn ball. So as long as they do, I'm sure they've been catch drills all week. But
how come we on the jugs machine more this week than we ever been?
It might bring that thing into the hallway in the hotel, bro.
Man.
But I mean, we'll see what. Kelsey, I'm not saying he's running out of gas, but he's not the same dude he's been over the last few years. But you never know with a champion how all they need is one performance. They don't have to go on a 3-game winning streak or anything like that. If Kansas City comes out and plays their A game, one of their A games, this could be one of the best championship games we've ever seen because one, the diversity in styles, and then you got the champion. They're trying to knock off the champion. Right. The uniqueness in what KC can do. Compared to what the Ravens can do. I am so looking forward to this game. I wish it was actually the second game on Sunday, but it is the first one, so the early one. But this will be one, man, where, oh my goodness, I'm still teetering, and I'm gonna throw a couple nickels on this one on all this.
Okay.
I'm gonna get out there and try to make me some money, scare money.
What's the line on this one, by the way? What's the line?
This one is minus 3.5,
right?
Yeah, 3.5 Ravens. So, but yeah, just to have some little fun. Like I said, I'm gonna throw a couple nickels on to use our little system we got and everything. But man, I'm looking forward to both these games. Oh, I should tell you too. I'm gonna throw some stuff on the grill. And do some air fried wings, and you, Nika, and Elijah are more than welcome to pop over if you like.
I think that might be something that we do.
Think about it. Yeah.
I'll think about it.
My mom's coming up. My brother might even stop up. So, yeah. But that's, so maybe we make a weekend out of it. But, yeah, no, this is going to be a great game. It's a shame somebody's got to lose, but this is the big one, and I think everybody was as far as matchups. Now it's almost like we got Buffalo out of the way. Right? It's like, yeah, this is going to be a good matchup. Buffalo would have been nice, but this one right here, the champion coming in, fighting for their title to think about it, Jay. Last time anybody defended a title was the Patriots, and that was 10 or 12 years ago, whatever it was. Right. So this is an opportunity for them. They got to win this one and then get to the big game and see what they can do. But nobody's repeated it in so many years. It'd be cool, but at the same time, it'd be nice to see Lamar get his. So I'll get you go ahead and get it, and we'll give our predictions.
I think this is going to be, man, if you think about what the Ravens did to San Francisco earlier in the season, and we know that some of the things that they can be very, they can take advantage of you quickly. I mean, they can swarm you. So there's the protecting Mahomes is going to be important for sure. Man, this is going to be one of those heavyweight bouts, and it's one of those things where the champion is coming in with he got in the terms of in preparing for the game. The champion was he messed up his shoulder, so he got his with that jab. So that jab's not going to be as crisp. So you got to rely on some other things, right? I think that the champ is going to be able to pull it out in a decision, so to speak.
Okay.
Maybe by I would say by 4 points. So it's going to be close the whole way. And I think that there's going to be something, and it's going to be the Lamar Jackson show. But I think that the Kansas City will just pull it off, and then they'll say, all right, man, we don't care if we win the Super Bowl or not, man. At least we made it back, and in the off season we'll end up fixing this shoulder. That's when we'll get it. But at least we made it through this fight. At least we got through this one.
Man, I am right there with you. I'm picking Kansas City, and I cannot believe I'm saying that the year that Baltimore's had. But until you beat the champ, I know they're not what they have been in the past, but I'm gonna just being there and knowing the magnitude of the moment. I'm gonna go with KC. I'm going. Oh,
it might be a high scoring game.
I'm thinking so too. I'm thinking this one's like a 30-28 game. Kansas City. So they don't. Yeah, 30-28.
It's going to be interesting. And just because if Lamar Jackson plays well, and I expect him to, I don't think the questions will be, can you win with Lamar Jackson? It'll be, what will he do next year? As opposed to the questions
to
of
get over the hump. Yeah.
Right. But all right. So easy. He's easy. I'm Jay Love. This is the Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. So let's get into this before we head out of here. Yesterday it came across that the Atlanta Falcons decided to hire, drum roll please, Raheem Morris instead of Bill Belichick.
Shocker.
And yeah, definitely a shocker. I want your thoughts on it. Some of the rumors, things that you probably heard, some of the same things, is that the powers that be, so not the owner, but when Bill comes in, he's going to want all the power. So think about it. You interviewing, you're the GM, and I'm the guy that's coming in about to take all this power, and you're saying, so Javon, tell me what you want. Well, I want your job. You're going to work for me now. We'll figure that out. That's the way I kind of do things. That's the way I did it. And so I have six Super Bowl rings to show for it. And, we probably will end up getting a whole new staff in terms of looking at folks who are doing the assessing and all that. So yeah, that's probably how it goes. And they look and said, no. We're not bringing this dude in so he can fire us. What I look like? What I look like? Bringing somebody in who I know is about to replace me. I know he's going to kick me out the office as soon as on his first day. And that's some of the rumors. But still, even having said that, you would think that the owner would have maybe said, no, I'm going to veto this. I'm going to overrule this. But if that is true, it's interesting. But your thoughts on Bill Belichick maybe not even being in on this hiring cycle because of the remaining jobs he hasn't even interviewed for that we know, and he's not getting any younger when it comes to the next hiring cycle next year.
Only 2 jobs left, Commanders and Seahawks. And the thing for me, Jay, is I just think sometimes it comes down to fit. Mm-hmm. The whole time when you thought about, okay, there's 8 jobs open, which one do you think would be best suited for Phil? Never in my even thought process did I think, yeah, Atlanta Falcons sound right. It just
people were pushing that for a while. I mean, and I just didn't. I didn't really get it either.
It was like it was because they interviewed him, they got to hire him. It's like, no, they don't. And maybe to a certain degree, just because you perfectly, stated it. GM, you got a GM there that's like, why am I going to bring this dude in? That's like, hey, bro, that's like we go out and find Shamar Moore, right? When you dating Nika, it's like, hey, Nika, I want you to introduce you to Shamar. It's like, what the hell? I mean, I know we're two handsome brothers, but come on. So you're gonna bring Bill in to do your job and eventually get you kicked out and fired right now. And then the other thing was maybe if you're a GM and an owner, okay, Bill, I know you're kind of interviewing us, but we do have to ask you a couple questions too, right?
Yeah.
What's the 5-year plan? Bill's looking at them like 5-year,
I'm 3.
Or I'm trying to, and they're like, well, wait a minute. We obviously know we're not Super Bowl material right now. It might take us 3 or 4, 5 years to get there with. And Bill's like, well, I'm trying to get my 15, 16 wins, and then we'll talk about that afterwards,
Right.
He's chasing, Shula. So to a certain degree, it didn't seem like a good fit. And I know everybody were talking, and there are times, bro, when everybody else might want it, but nah, we just don't see it. And then, like I said, all the focus seemed to be just on that Falcons job. Everybody knew Harbaugh was going to I almost said it, to the Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and there were a couple others. Surprisingly, we knew it wasn't going to Panthers. Come on, bro. The owner, the team that won 2 games, Bill ain't trying to be there, trying to resurrect some stuff like that. So there were a couple jobs that were like, that weren't even on the board. And honestly, I didn't even think the Falcons job was a good fit, just like we just talked about. So the question there lies, okay, he doesn't get hired in this cycle, Jay. He's going to be another year older next year. And which jobs are coming available? And once again, is it a good match? You're going to bring Bill. If you're hiring a new head coach, Jay, that means you stunk.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there was a couple jobs this year with San Diego. Like, you guys stunk. But that's because you had
Los
a horrible
Angeles.
coach. Oh, I said, did it right there. The Chargers, I'll just say the Chargers, they were bad, but they had all that talent there. And there was another spot or two, maybe even the Commanders if you get a quarterback there.
Right.
But this whole thing with next year is going to come, and what jobs are going to be available? Maybe Philly, maybe Dallas, So that, to me, those are the two that when those two crumbled, if one of those would have, Jerry could have said, I need Bill, let's go get him. Same thing with Sirianni. So if those two don't turn it around, I would say those are his two shots for next year because those are ready-made. Those are, all we need to do is take this, refire it, put it in the oven, and, go from there. We don't have to restart the whole meal. So otherwise, I don't know if maybe he's done. I don't know.
Quite possibly. So he is Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. We do this thing 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tell a friend to tell a friend about what we have going on. Check out the YouTube channel. You can go to easysportstalk.com, easysportstalk.com. We do the Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast. We'll get that back next week because they're not in the playoffs. And then we also have our terrestrial radio show, which is every Saturday, 1 to 3 Eastern on Sports Map Radio. It's a national show. So if you're not in one of the 98 markets that we are in, then you can go to sportsmapradio.com. In the upper right corner, click on the little play icon and you can play, or you can download the app for your Android or mobile device. And as we always like to say around this time, you can